So we know that the big news today is that the jury in the Diddy trial has come to a partial verdict. Now, here are two things that I think that this could mean. I've heard one person say that it could mean that they are not guilty on the trafficking when it comes to Cassie and Jane Doe, but then guilty on the transportation. Why do they feel this way? Because if they are debating the RICO, it's kind of like, why would they be debating? Because some of the predicate acts include trafficking and include transportation. So they're thinking if they were guilty on all the counts 2 through 5, which is apparently where they've already come to a verdict, and they're only debating the RICO, if they have come to an agreement with those particular counts, then if it was all guilty, then shouldn't they meet the predicate acts on the RICO? That's how some people are seeing it. Others look at it like you have 12 jurors and this quickly they came to a consensus on 4 of the counts. Most people feel that indicates that they have a guilty verdict on all 4. But here's what the issue with the RICO could also mean, which I'm kind of more leaning to. I agree that to get 12 people to agree on 4 of the 5 counts, I do lean towards they have probably found him guilty. With the RICO, however, they may be struggling because of the question about enterprise. Some jurors may not believe that his enterprise had anything to do with his illegal activities or alleged illegal activities, such as the trafficking or the transportation. They may feel like that is something that Diddy did by himself and it has nothing to do with his enterprise. That may, in fact, be what the jury is divided on. And if you remember, for those of you who saw my verdict prediction, I did say that they are probably going to hammer out whether or not this or that his enterprise was involved in his illegal acts. Because to me, it's clear because you do have text messages with his chief of staff, Christina, engaging or helping him to allegedly get a bribery. When it comes to hiding that hotel video, you also have text messages from her to Jane Doe regarding the use of illegal substances. You have his assistants allegedly buying illegal substances, and allegedly they were given out to some of the women that he dated. But again, some of the jury may look at that and say, you know what, I see that, but this is Diddy, and as a CEO, he maybe at times commingles his business with his personal life, but they may feel like it's just not enough. They may say, okay, yes, his personal assistant may be cleaning up his room after an FO. They may be purchasing some illegal substances for him, but it's still really just his personal assistant. I don't think they're doing this under Bad Boy or under Combs Enterprise. They may be thinking that. And it just boils or comes down to whether or not, or almost like a philosophical question, whether the RICO statute should apply to whatever it is that Diddy has done. But honestly, it could go a lot of different ways. It could also be that they have found him guilty just on the trafficking when it comes to Cassie, but not guilty on the Jane Doe. And then that could affect maybe the timeline for the RICO. Who knows? But hopefully we will know tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Hopefully they come to a conclusion, because I'll be honest, I'm actually proud of this jury. They came to a consensus on the majority of the charges quite quickly. But like one legal expert said, that may very well indicate a guilty on at least one of those charges. Because here's the thing, some of you may say, couldn't it be not guilty on all of the charges or on the 2 through 5 charges? Here's why some legal experts say that may not make any sense. Because if it was not guilty, then what would they be arguing with RICO over? Because in their minds, there would be really not much to argue over. However, let me say this. That may, in fact, be true, but remember what I said, there's different predicate acts. So they could say, I don't think he's guilty on transportation. I don't think he's guilty on trafficking, but I do think that he maybe caused arson or ordered arson on Kid Cudi's car, or I believe that he bribed that security guard, or I believe that he kidnapped Capricorn Clark. Those are different type of acts. Or I believe that he engaged in illegal substance distribution. That's not trafficking. That's not transportation. So, they could be arguing over that, although I just still feel like that's highly unlikely. I agree with other legal experts that they have likely found him guilty on one of those counts, 2 through 5. The question is it all of those counts, 2 through 5, and we're just trying to figure out RICO? Maybe in terms of the enterprise, but we shall see. What are your thoughts? Be sure to leave them below. Peace.